Annyeonghaseyo everyone. Drama Cult is back with the next installment of the review of It's Okay to Not Be Okay. Before we get into the review part, if this is your first time on our channel, do check out our review of the previous episodes and other amazing Asian drama content. If you have not subscribed to us, please do subscribe. Go on, also smash the bell icon to be notified whenever we release a new video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter where we conduct various interesting and exclusive discussions and polls. So let's not waste any more time and get right into the review part. And yeah, this is gonna be a spoiler review. Chapter 11, called The Ugly Duckling. I was highly anticipating this episode based off of the preview that we got last week, and all my expectations were met. What a wholesome episode this was. It was the best episode of the series until now. I would go as far as saying that this was one of the best episodes ever in K-drama history. Definitely added to my list of episodes from all K-dramas that I would be re-watching whenever I feel low. I genuinely root for and care for all the main characters in this drama, and I want them to find the happiness that they truly deserve. I have never seen a drama which stuck to its central theme so well, the theme of healing in this case. Moon Sang-tae stole the show for me this time. We got to see a proper arc for his character, which was portrayed to perfection by Oh Jung-se. The bond between the Moon brothers was beautifully explored in this episode. In one of the previous episodes, Kang-tae says that many a times he fakes his smile to hide his feelings and to show Sang-tae that he is happy. But this episode showed us that Sang-tae knew all along that Kang-tae was faking it, and that it was in this episode that Sang-tae notices Kang-tae to be genuinely happy, and the way Sang-tae tears up upon noticing this, such a nuanced, touching scene. The sequence in the restaurant when Sang-tae uses his savings to buy food for Kang-tae, cuts Kang-tae's food and gives him an allowance like a normal big brother, and also Kang-tae's reaction to all this was just so beautiful and perfect, and it teared me up. Now let's talk about Kang-tae. I loved it when he admits that he needs both Sang-tae and Moo-young in his life, and I loved the way he explained it to both of them. All of his efforts paid off when Moo-young took an extra step forward to gain Sang-tae's approval, and Sang-tae accepted Moo-young as his dongsang by the end of this episode. That shot of the three of them walking off hand in hand, that was the happily ever after for Moo-young, Kang-tae and Sang-tae that we always wish for. A picture perfect moment indeed. I felt really happy for Kang-tae when he proclaims, "This is who I am. Moon Kang-tae belongs to Moon Kang-tae." This is actually a lesson for all of us as well. Self-love should always be a priority. The sequence where Kang-tae fought Sang-tae was really necessary. It meant so much more than a mere fight between brothers. It showed Kang-tae standing up for himself, voicing what he really feels, accepting Sang-tae as his big brother rather than a child who he has been taking care of all his life. At that moment, their relationship changed from that of a caregiver patient to that of true brothers. The love story between Moo-young and Kang-tae is very, how do I put it, meaningful and passionate. They are not two people who are put together because the story requires it. They truly complete each other and are meant to be together. This was conveyed perfectly through the oh so passionate and intimate kiss. This contrasted well with the budding, simple and cute relationship between Juri and Sangin. The high school dream sequence showed us the alternate universe version of their story. If their lives were not messed up, how normal and different would their lives have been? The writers made the right choice in including such a sequence. Talking about the writers, I can't help but applaud the perfect way in which they have intricately crafted each of the characters. There was no out of character moments that I have noticed until now, and that shows the effort that they have put into developing each of the characters. The title of this episode could not have been any more perfect. The theme of Ugly Duckling is that of acceptance of a stranger into a family, and this fits perfectly in the case of Ko Mun-young. I have lost count of the number of times I use the word perfect in the review of this series, but I can't be blamed, can I? Because everything was just so perfect. Moving on to chapter 12 called Romeo and Juliet. This episode caused a disruption to the perfect balance that was established in Moon Young, Kang Tae, and Sang Tae's lives in the previous episode. We all saw that coming, but we were never ready for it. If episode 11 lifted me up to the heights of happiness, episode 12 dropped me down into a deep dark pit. Then it gave me a rays of hope with the last scene. Relationship between Moon Young and Sang Tae was highlighted well in this episode without Kang Tae in their equation. They took care of household chores on their own, they bantered just like real siblings, and finally Moon Young asked Sang Tae to be the real him and to not hide. That was just the cherry on top. Sang-in really came through, again by being the perfect prospective boyfriend and caring for Judy's mom. The way Jae-soo kept tabs on Kang Tae for Moon Young was just hilarious. I was really liking their interactions. The head nurse Miss Park exhibits super weird vibes and she is definitely hiding something. Although I don't personally favor the theory of her actually being Moon Young's mom, I can see the justification supporting it. Director Oh's character really shone throughout this episode, be it the way he conducts Sang Tae's counseling or the way he was there when Kang Tae broke down. This series shows perfectly well that everyone has their own demons that they are fighting. In this episode, we got to know about Mr. Khan's story and his PTSD. I really felt for him. His statement that the past traps him really conveyed the pain that he was going through and his resultant inability to face the world. The CGI during Mr. Khan's breakdown was really well done. Now let's all take a moment to appreciate how our Sang Tae took care of Mr. Khan during this scene. It showed how far Sang Tae has come. He was able to comfort a man who was suffering in the same way he was comforted many a times in the past by Kang Tae. I really felt proud for him. Also, Sang Tae deciding on overcoming his past trauma by not running anymore and recalling the details from the traumatic memory of the murder of his mother clearly showed how he was truly healing. The theory that Moon Young's mom is Sang Tae's birth mom might be true as indicated by the murder sequence, also by the conversation between Moon Young and Sang Tae when they talked about them having resemblances. Kang Tae showing up for the family portrait at the end of this episode gave me the reassurance that I needed. It showed that he is not gonna abandon Moon Young because of the thing that she is not actually responsible for. However, I do not want Kang Tae to hide the truth from Moon Young. Moon Young finding it out otherwise is really gonna hurt her. I can't believe that we just have 4 more episodes left in this masterpiece of a series. I'm eagerly waiting for the next Saturday to come. So that's all for the review of episode 11 and 12. Please look forward to more reviews from our channel. Do subscribe to us. I'm sure you won't be disappointed. Go and just click on the button on the bottom right corner of the video. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, share the video with your fellow K-drama fans. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter for more interactive and exclusive Asian drama content. That's it for now guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.